Hey guys, what's up? This is my gaming, editing, main, whatever you want to call it, PC. This is what I've been using for the past couple months to do, well, everything, including editing, the gaming that I do for my streams, editing my YouTube videos in 6K, stuff like that is all done on this PC. And this absolutely sucks. Unfortunately, this computer is just not good enough to handle the tasks that I need it to do. Now, the CPU in this rig is a 3900 XT. The graphics card is a RTX 3070 Ti. It's got about 6 terabytes of mostly SSD-based storage, and is a pretty awesome system. Unfortunately, that's simply not good enough. But not for the reasons you would think. But those will be addressed in the follow-up video where I actually build my new rig. In today's video, I'm just going to be taking apart this PC and going through the build. So, let's take this thing apart, because I actually want to build a new PC out of some of the parts that are in this. I'll be not using some of them. We'll be talking about that in, well, this video. And yeah, I just basically need to take this thing apart. I thought I'd make an interesting video. I'm spinning in circles because I have no idea what I'm doing. Let's open this thing up and let me show you guys what is going on inside. It has come to my attention that I have opened the wrong side of the computer. But I guess you get kind of an idea of what's going on here. So, this case is the Cooler Master NR200. In white, if you couldn't tell. And it is an ITX case, as you can see. Although, my main problem with it, and the reason I'm actually switching cases and actually form factors, more on that in the follow-up video, is because this is humongous for an ITX case and doesn't support nearly as much hardware as a case this size definitely could. But you can kind of see the build going on here. So, I need to, at the very least, take out the core components and a couple of the drives in this system. Now, I only have about 25 minutes to do this, and I just realized that this is going to be a lot more challenging to take apart than I had thought, because there is a lot to deal with here. So the radiator in this case, if you haven't seen the NR200 before, kind of mounts, to the side, like so, which is a little weird for taking apart. Okay, and we see already we have access to our first drive, which has surprisingly survived just being in there loose. A little bit scratched up, but works fine. This is an 860 QVO, 1 terabyte SSD that I kind of just threw in there at one point when I needed an extra terabyte. It has been pretty good, and I'll probably be reusing it for my new build. Now, one of the first things I want to do is actually get in and grab my RTX 3070 Ti. This is like a $1,000 card, and I straight up don't want it getting damaged because I cannot replace it. Since this is a video editing PC, I don't really ever want to use AMD, and well, neither do you. Well, graphics card wise. CPU, good job AMD. Graphics cards, bad job AMD. Which makes me sad because hardware wise AMD has like the best cards ever, but just their drivers literally ruin the cards. It's been a while since I've seen this card. This is the RTX 3070 Ti Asus Tub version. It was the card that they had in stock at Micro Center when I went to buy it. I didn't realize I was paying like $1,000 after tax for this thing, and I very much regret it. If someone wants it for like $1,100, go for it. I'm kidding, but seriously. But yeah, this is my main editing PC card. It only has 8 gigabytes of DDR6X, which is absolutely stupid. But besides that, it's a pretty great gaming card. Beats a 2080 Ti in gaming kind of some point. So our cooler was an odd choice this time, for me at least. Because, if you don't know, I'm a big fan of the Asetek pump cooler rad design for AIOs. I've partnered with Asetek before. I've been a big fan, and I have advertised for them, and also just genuinely, this is part of the reason why I use Asetek, because holy crap, their mounting system is 10 times better than Cooler Masters. I genuinely prefer Asetek based designs. I feel they work way better. But in this build, if you couldn't tell, one sec. This is why, did I just scratch up my desk? I went with a is that upside down? Yes, it is. I went with a Cooler Master pump, AIO combo, whatever you want to call it. I went with a Cooler Master cooler. And that was definitely not typical. I used to use more Cooler Master products back when I was buying my own stuff, just because they were cheaper, but I started realizing that it's not always worth it to go for the cheapest thing ever, especially when it comes to your cooler. So I stopped using them for a while, but I had them sitting around, and I went with this Cooler Master one for 2 reasons. The way that the top smashes the cooler in, I thought if a cooler was gonna break, you know, because of something like that, I'd rather it be one of my Cooler Master units and not something else. And secondly, it was just the only 240 I had at the time. That's it. That's really the main reason. It was the only 240mm cooler I had sitting around at the time, which is probably the reason I should have started with, but yeah. I forgot how tightly integrated this system is because, let's see, let's get this cooler as best we can completely untangled from the system so I can turn it up and show you guys. Now you guys can get a much better idea of what was going on here. So I built the system live on stream. Oh, there's an SSD on the back. Now, this is kind of the layout of the case. So here we have our power supply. We'll talk about what that is in a little bit. We've got our motherboard and, well, related components. The drives are actually, yep, they are still there, which is great. Mounted to the front. The way these drives are mounted, I literally had to build the whole thing, realize that the drives couldn't be mounted with the power supply in, and I had to take apart the entire build and do it again. This was all live on stream. So in the front, we have our FireCuda hard drive. This is a laptop hard drive, 2 terabytes of Seagate SSD cache sped up spinning hard drive. It's basically what FireCuda hybrid drives are. And a 512GB Samsung 850 EVO, I think. I'll have to check. And besides that, we have our Asus ROG Strix B550i. We also, if you couldn't tell, have 64GB, which I actually want to get out of here right now if I can. Kingston HyperX DDR4. Not to be confused with HP HyperX DDR4. What's the difference? Well, HP fairly recently bought the HyperX branding and is now making the DDR4 under the HyperX name. This is the DDR4 from when Kingston owned HyperX and made RAM for them with that branding. It was replaced by the Kingston Fury lineup. See the similarities here. And actually, little spoiler for my next build, because I don't believe I will be going ITX again, I will actually be able to use 128 gigabytes of memory. DDR4 3000 megahertz, 128 gigs of Kingston memory in that. This is going to be freaking awesome. So that's something to look forward to. Stay tuned for that build, because I am very excited. Now, let's see if I can't get this out of the system without completely breaking it. I won't be needing this board per se. I would like it to remain intact. I will say that, but I would genuinely like to keep this board in working order. The reason it's a fail is because some of the specs of the system, including, unfortunately, I don't want to say the lack, but the truth is, there was somehow a lack of storage. I ran out of storage. All of my SSDs were filled up almost immediately every time I had a video to edit because of just the sheer massive file sizes I use for my videos. So that unfortunately led to just never having enough storage space, especially since I needed mostly SSD space for the transfer speeds and the editing speeds that you need to access 6K footage. So I need to upgrade the storage, and ITX, well, unfortunately, was not very conducive to that. And also, PCI Express wise, I would like to have at least one accessible slot, although this graphics card is like 2.5 slot and might block up all the ports on my next board, so I may still be screwed, but hey, still nice to have had. And overall, I'm just not super happy with the design of this case. I feel that Cooler Master really messed up. What else is new? With not allowing radiator mounts on top. They didn't include support for radiator mounting on top. I have no idea why, and it's stupid to me. Absolutely nonsensical not to. And finger in the thermal paste. How long did that take? 10 minutes? Finger in the thermal paste? 10 minutes? 17 minutes, yep. Wow, I am almost out of time already, and this PC is not fully disassembled, although it's close, so. Last thing to get out is the power supply and these two drives, and then I think we're done. No tit for tat needed, because I can have both the tit and the tat, which is super amazing. Now, this power supply choice may confuse some of you guys, and I will explain it to those who care right now. Our power supply choice was a Corsair SF600. That is an 80 plus platinum, 600 watt PSU. May or may not be thinking, 600 watts is pretty low for a system like this, especially considering the 3070 Ti alone recommends 650 plus watts. The 3070 actually said 650. I don't know if it's the same for the Ti, I'm guessing it is, but either way, they recommend a 650 watt power supply minimum. This is a 600 watt. And it's also SFX, which should be fall victim to power spikes and stuff like that. I don't really care, nor do I believe that power supply recommendations matter, especially from a company like NVIDIA, who doesn't know what they're talking about 99% of the time. Trust me, I know what it's like. And 600 watts should be absolutely fine. Now, this is a pretty good 600 watt power supply. Corsair, I believe, is okay. I have no problems with their units. It's what I have sitting around, and it is, well, 80 plus platinum, so high efficiency will help make sure you have, you're not wasting any power, so you kind of get almost the full 600 watts all the time, like 92% efficient or something like that. So I think that's great. Besides that, let's really quickly go over the last three parts of our system while I have a little bit of recording space left. So, for the main boot, oh god, is this gonna come out? Wow, this is really an old drive, holy crap. And here comes the part, here we come to the part where this is one of the main reasons I have to, unfortunately, upgrade this system right now. Well, let's just, while we're at it, grab our drive from the back. M.2 slot in the back, super great. 3900 XT, we'll be using that later. So, now that our system's disassembled, final two pieces. These are the two drives that I was kind of using in the main system. Like, these two were the main drives in the system. This is my 512 gigabyte Samsung 8 something Evo or something like that. Of course, it's not written on here anywhere. And this is a 512 gigabyte NVMe drive, and this was actually the drive in my old Razer laptop I took out a long time ago. It had Windows 10 activated on it, so I was like, hey, I'll use it. And it's been a great drive. Unfortunately, it is getting slow. It has been written to and deleted from many, many times, and that will slowly, over time, sometimes you can get some performance degradation on it, on a drive especially, as NAND and QLC or whatever kind of degrade. It's not like a graphics card that doesn't degrade. This will degrade. This is memory. It does that. Until it kind of leads to a slow death, which is where this is heading. This is just overcrowded, and I've just installed super stuff on it, so we don't really need it. And our secondary drive, I actually have zero problems with. The Silicon Power A80 was an amazing drive. 1 terabyte of PCIe 3.0 M.2, nothing, no problem with it. Again, the reason I will not be reusing it is twofold. First of all, 1 terabyte is just really not enough as this is my bulk storage drive. It's simply not enough anymore. So, Sabrent actually sent over one of their awesome Rocket 4 Plus 2 terabyte PCIe 4.0 drives, which will be replacing Silicon Power drive, which is super awesome. And I have a 970 Evo sitting around to replace this like 850 drive thing. So that, and there's a 1 terabyte. So that we're going from 1.5 terabytes between these two drives to 3 terabytes between these two. And this is a much faster boot drive. So it's going to be a much better system. We're also upgrading our storage to, again, there'll be more information on all this in the actual build video, but I'll be adding these SSDs. Now, it only has 4 SATA ports on the new board, so I may have to drop either the 512 gig drive and like copy its data, or one of these 3, but this is a 1 terabyte Kingston. This is a 1 terabyte Kingston KC600 they sent, which is an amazing drive. About 9 terabytes of storage, which isn't like a ton, but it's a lot more than like the 5 or 6 that I had in there. So that'll be super great. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys kind of enjoyed this little disassembly. Stay tuned for the video build featuring the RTX 3070 Ti, which I know a lot of you care about, and a bunch of other parts. We're also going to be upgrading our power supply, of course, because I want something higher end. Thank you, Silverstone. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.